Hello there and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. It is I, MrWarrenHayes, coming at you for another 2 hours-ish of wrestling talk right here on the Mr. Warren Hayes Show, which just so happens to be recorded live right now, November 4th, 2021, right here on youtube.com/ Mr. Warren Hayes. Just slash it all up. That's what we are going to be doing here tonight. Wrestling talk. And God bless WWE for throwing the whole format of my show out the window. I'm completely unprepared now. No, I'm kidding. But it is going to be something. It is something very, very interesting to talk about tonight. We've got some good stuff. Well, I mean, not some... Look, we've got some interesting topics to talk about. We'll get into it in a little bit. But hey, in the meantime, I'm glad you're here, watching live here on youtube.com/ MrWarrenHayes, because look at this. Another, as per usual, Thursday nights, some wonderful people are like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go hang out on Warren's stream and chit-chat about wrestling. And look at what we have here. We've got a live, active, dynamic, interesting, beautiful / handsome chat room. I don't know. What is the gender of a chat room? Does a chat room have a gender? Does a chat room need a gender? We got a whole bunch of wonderful people here as per usual. Robert Larry. How you doing, Robert? Kelly Tonjes here as well. Nice to see you. We got our boy Ben, Phantomark82, who's here. Facebook.com/ Phantomark82. You know how that goes. Mr. Fretz is here as well. Nice to see you, Fretz. Hello. We've got Justin Firestein, who's joining us as well. Nice to see you, Justin. Our boy Tim Traver, good friend of the show. Nice to see you, Tim. And welcome. We got Flowman here as well. Anakin JMT. 5th generation Carney Joseph with it. Nice to see you, Carney. Nice to see you. We got Jay Kearns who's here as well. Popped on the Discord yesterday to play some Drawful Animate. See, this is the kind of thing that... I'll be back. I'll talk about the Discord in a second. Nice to see you, Jay Kearns. Very, very much so. Got AK Germany 96 here as well. Look, what do you want me to tell you? Did I say Anakin is here? Anakin JMT is here, and JK Schwal as well. What do you want me to tell you? Fantastic people that come in here, chat live, and just enjoy being around a bunch of people who like wrestling in the same way they do. That's what you get when you come and join us live here every Thursday night. And if you can't make it here, that's okay. I appreciate you watching on demand as well. And whether you're live or watching on demand, give the video a like. The algorithm likes it. Look, again, what do you want me to tell you? What am I supposed to do? The algorithm likes. So the more you like it, the more people discover the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. More people come and join us. You see, it's just a wonderful celebration of everything about wrestling. Like, not everything. You know, I can't necessarily, there's stuff I can't talk about. You see, I'm looking for stuff that I can't talk about, and I can't even think about it. That's how obscure it is. So thank you, everyone, for being here already. Thank you for listening here on and watching on youtube.com. And thank you if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast application, because yes, the Mr. Warren Hayes Show is also available in pure audio format as well. The purest audio format. And thank you very much. And leave a review if you're hanging around the Apple stuff. Look, people have left reviews recently. Some nice 5-star reviews about how I like quinoa. And some slander about Eva Marie. So you're more than welcome to go ahead, leave a nice 5-star review and slander me in the description. I appreciate it. Thank you all very much. But honestly, that kind of stuff really does help out. It's fantastic. Thank you so much. Of course, you can also follow Bell to Bells for all your women's wrestling your stuff, news, interviews, all sorts of great stuff. Here's how it goes. belltobells.com, BELLTOBELLES.com, youtube.com/belltobells, twitter.com/belltobells. That's where you find us. So go ahead, and follow us there. All sorts of great stuff. You know what I realized I haven't done in a while is a prediction show. I haven't done a prediction show in a long time, and I'm going to be doing one this weekend, Saturday afternoon. I'm going to be doing my AEW Full Gear prediction show, so I'm excited about that. Doubly excited because I'm bringing back one of my old homies, being the Queen of NE, who I haven't done a podcast with in it feels like years, but it's been it's probably been over a year. I wouldn't say years plural, but it's been a long time. You know, she was out doing family-oriented things, and I'm really excited to get back into the saddle, doing prediction shows, and getting back into the saddle, chatting with one of my OGs. Queen of NE is going to be joining me this Saturday. Full Gear prediction this Friday afternoon. The stream's already up there. Set yourself a reminder. Come and join us. It's going to be a good time. As I was saying before, there is a Discord that you can join. The link is in the description. If you're watching live, the link will pop up from Nightbot. He's going to pop that up occasionally. Join us. Discussion, so on and so forth. And as Jay Kearns can attest to, hey, we play Jackbox games on occasion. Did this on Wednesday, a bit of an hour before Dynamite. It was a lot of fun. Come join us. It was good times. Come and be a friend. It's fun. And it's a good way to keep up with the community. Don't forget, if you're a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel, you can join me for the post show afterwards, where we are going to be... Look, I don't know what we're talking about tonight. We're just opening up the landlines. I'm pretty sure we're going to be talking a lot about the WWE releases. But look, everything's going to be opened up. Become a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. You can do so right here, right now, and then you can join us immediately after, and we stream some more. I chat directly with you guys in the live chat. We take calls from the Discord. Super interactive, just sitting around talking about wrestling. Should be a good time. Hopefully a good time. It's always a good time. What am I talking about? And it's also a great way to show some support for the Mr. Warren Hayes Show by becoming a member of the channel. That's also good. And another good way to show some support is to leave a super chat, and I will read your question or comment live and on the air right here, such as from Anakin JMT, who left us a super chat in relation to the membership. And he says, thank you very much, Anakin, by the way. He says, become a member and hear my spoiler-free review of Eternals on the post show. That's right. Anakin is going, we talked about it, and I'm leaving him some space, because we do go off on tangents and we talk about the Marvel stuff. I haven't seen Eternals yet, and he has committed to giving us his spoiler-free review of the highly contested Marvel Eternals movie. So if you want to join us for that, that's good. That's a good incentive. But here's another incentive to become a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show, as per left in super chat by J.K. Schwal. Thank you very much, J.K. He says, become a member to see my pups in a shark costume. That's right. We get to see pictures of J.K. Schwal's ever-growing puppy. And we got to see him in a shark costume. That's the quality, wholesome content by becoming a member. Happy Diwali, everyone. To anyone who is to anyone who's celebrating, hope it is a wonderful time for you. Thank you for being here. Also want to say hello to, we got Heather, who's here. Nice to see you, Heather. William Davis here too. Injection 2K. Ryan Smith. We got Pete Davies here as well. Nice to see you. Sean Taggart. We got a full house. Ooh, let's get to it then. This is where we're at now. No, I'm not. I am not scrambling. You're scrambling. Here's the weekly wrestling inspection. I'm still here. It's all right. I'm still here. Why is it? Oh, the music is really good. Anyway, no, we're not starting over. Everything's fine. It's just a wee little technical glitch. So as it happens on occasion here on the Mr. Warren Hayes show during the live show, I will leave a series of topics for the live crowd to pick to see what I'm going to talk about first. What am I going to kick off the show with? And an overwhelming majority tonight chose for me to speak about the newest set of releases from World Wrestling Entertainment. Now, let me just double check here. And we're going to do this live because I want to do this correctly. Because all of these releases happened like a couple of hours before I got on the program, right? Just before I started streaming. I just went over to the WWE Twitter. Now, and just to make sure and confirm, as it stands right now, WWE has not confirmed any of the releases, but all of our most trusted and secure reporting outlets have all come together to announce that a bunch of WWE talent has been released. It started with some NXT names being thrown out there, but then suddenly started getting names from the main roster popping up here. From NXT, this is what we had. This is what we know. Scarlett Bordeaux, Ember Moon, Frankie Monet, Jessica Maya, Katrina Cortez, Jeet Rama, Oni Lorcan, Trey Baxter, and Zeta Ramir have all been, formerly known as AQA, in case you're keeping up, have all been released as of today. From the main roster, however, Keith Lee, Mia Yim, Nia Jax, Karrion Kross, Lindsay Dorado, Gran Metalik, Harry Smith, also known as the son of British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith, and B-Fab have all been served their termination papers. Now, I'm just scouring as I'm talking about this, making sure that we're not how much we're just to make sure I'm not missing out on anyone. I don't think so. I think that's pretty much, been keeping an eye on that big Jackson Riker firing, but clearly Jackson Riker has a lot more to offer WWE than Keith Lee does. Wow. Don't get mad at me. Actions speak louder than words. Look at what we got here. So from what we've been able to piece together here, John Laurinaitis, our boy Johnny Ace, made a bunch of emails today. Yes, all these people were released via email, apparently, citing budget cuts. Citing budget cuts on the day that WWE takes to the investors for their Q3 earnings call and announces that they have made like $268 million in revenue, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Like I said, I'm piecing my notes together. It's been quite the day. And the past couple of hours as well. Let me just see here. Net income of $43.5 million and $255.8 million in revenue. Right? Neil, good to see you. Welcome to the chat. So, oh yes, and thank you, Heather. I did forget. Oh, how could I forget? You're absolutely right. Eva Marie has also been released from her contract at World Wrestling Entertainment. I don't want to dwell too much on that. Not yet. So, but look, let's get one thing out of the way, okay? We know, right? We know that the budget excuse, because that's what it is, the budget excuse is bullshit. When your company is profitable, when your company is profitable, you are not looking to then cut back on expenses because you want to continue growth. And usually, typically a company that grows will spend money. That's how it goes. And a company whose growth is stifled will then begin to cut back. So you're asking yourselves, Warren, why? You're asking me, actually, because you're saying Warren. If you're asking yourself anything and you're prefacing the question that you are asking yourself by, Warren, I'm going to tell you, I appreciate you for keeping me in your mind like that, but maybe you should address yourself in the first person instead of pretending that you're talking to me. You might be asking yourself that, Warren, why are they cutting people if they're profitable, right? That's the main question. That's always the thing that pops up here. Why are they cutting people? And we've discussed this at the last series of cuts, and it breaks my heart to say the last series of cuts because it's ridiculous, to sort of always come back to this position here. But we did talk about this last time. And they just don't need these people anymore. They just do not need these people anymore. This is the result. And a lot of people, I don't want to necessarily include myself in this. I'm not going to try and snap my suspenders and go, I told you so. Because I never really got on board with this, but this is something that a lot of people saw coming. WWE stockpiling talent to keep them away from their competition, to starve the independent circuit, to really become the first and only name in town where people could go work. This is the result of the stockpiling, where you're at a point where you had about 300 people on your roster, 300 active talent that you were paying, most of them to stay home. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Kristen Ashley, for becoming a member for 19 months. Just left me a nice message here at the same time saying, thank you, Warren, for entertaining us tonight. Thank you for your 19 months as a member. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. So we just have to keep that in mind, right? Is that these are all... This was the plan. And now it's like we're at a moment in time at this point where people are, where WWE is not being run by carnies anymore, not being run by people who were around in the territory days and whose strategy was to hog up the talent so that the competition wouldn't get it. You have a guy, and again, if I'm repeating myself at this point, but I don't mind repeating myself because I think this is important that we all get on the same wavelength here. This is a guy, Nick Khan, who does not come from wrestling, who doesn't give a shit about the territories, who doesn't give a shit that Vince McMahon has a weirdo Ted Turner obsession. This is a guy who comes in, looks at the spreadsheets, gets his notes delivered to him, and he looks at the notes and he's like, so someone needs to explain to me what, and there's actually notes on the pad, not a blank notepad like I have, but he's tapping and he says, someone needs to explain to me why we are paying 230 people as talent when we only use 30% of them per week. That's what this guy does. Because he's from a sports background. He's been an agent. He looks at the way WWE spends his money and he says, you guys are insane. Why are you hoarding this talent? And you've got Vince standing next to him and going, well, pal, if otherwise, if we leave all the good talent, leave to the competition, they're gonna come after us. And then Johnny Ace is next to him to compound that and goes, oh, absolutely, Mr. Khan, Vince is right. Plus, on top of that, Vince just came back from the gym and his biceps are throbbing right now. And so Nick Khan is like, I don't give a shit about this stuff. Yeah. You guys want this to work. You guys want to make money. This is not how we're going to do it. Plus, if on top of that, you've heard Nick Khan talk in the past, in past calls, right? Who does WWE compare themselves to? This is constantly what they say. We're on the same playing field as the NFL. We're on the same playing field as Marvel, right? This is what they compare themselves to. They did it again. They fucking did it again today, right? Marvel. We compete with sleep. You remember that line? That high-level executive line that it's like, sleep is the enemy. We compete against sleep. That's what WWE does. And I know there is a lot of people, smart people, smarter than I, that are like, no, we don't see WWE setting down for a sale. But I'll be goddamned. Maybe not in 2020. No, definitely not in 2021. Maybe not even in 2022. But I'll be goddamned if WWE isn't trimming itself down. Its expenses, I mean. The expenses. If there's anything, right? They're trimming their expenses down to make themselves attractive for a future buyer. And this is something I've talked about multiple times here on the show. And I still believe this is the path they want to go down. Because there is no way that a prospective buyer looks at a spreadsheet and goes, why are we spending money on 250 people listed as talent when we only have room for 30% of them on a weekly basis on our television shows? No one looks at that and says, sure, I'll buy this company. This makes a lot of sense. Seems very well run, very sensible. No one does that. So of course, they're getting rid of all the people that they can't, that they're not using, that they just have no use for. And yes, it is a direct consequence of the strategy of stockpiling to starve the competition, which does not mesh with the new strategy of new management who is like, these decisions make no economic sense, because they didn't make economic sense. They never did. I've questioned this on the podcast in the past. How does keeping so many people on a roster to just sit at home, or as the expression goes these days, to sit at catering, how does that work to keep all these people sitting around doing jack shit, and yet they still collect an annual salary? It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't connect. But that's where we're at. That's still where we're at. And I know we're bummed, right? I know we're bummed that we got all these releases, all these people that are gone. And this actually compounds a bit of a theory I've had before we start talking about the talent individually. Because I don't think I mentioned Ember Moon, right? I'm just realizing. Let me pull up my list here. Because, look, I apologize. I've really been doing my best. Yeah, I did say Ember Moon. Doing my best trying to cobble everything together with all this new information going around. So apologies if I seem a little scattered. Or more scattered than usual. What am I talking about? I'm sitting around saying, I got my Warren Hayes has his act together every Thursday night. What are you talking about? Now, before we start talking about the talent themselves, right? You know, I was watching Raw this Monday, it dawned on me, and you know, I even tweeted it out, and I was glad to see that, you know, a lot of people that I consider peers to agree with me. And I think that WWE's strength is that it has talent that people genuinely care about. I'm not saying this from top to bottom, right? I'm not saying A to Z, you've got nothing but people nothing but talent that people really, really care about. That's not true. But the people who are in top positions or who you feel you could get more out of, you stick around and you watch them. You tune in to watch the talent, because it turns out that's why I tune in. That's what I usually answer. People who come after me and say, if you are not happy watching WWE, just turn it off. And the answer I give is, well, it's I watch WWE because I want, there's talent here that I really, really like, right? There's talent working for this company that I genuinely like and I want to see succeed. And then it turns into a situation where it's not even a question of, what you watch to see the talent succeed, and you hope, despite WWE's poor storytelling and shitty booking and redundant storylines. You want to see them overcome that and place themselves into better positions in the company and become respected, full-blown stars. I think this is one of the reasons why people were so excited for Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, because I really had Kofi Mania in my mind, thinking about the promo that Big E cut this week. But Xavier Woods, I think people were really excited for him winning King of the Ring this year, because he is a genuinely liked talent that people always wanted to see WWE throw their support behind. And I think this is something that people were looking to see. Not necessarily become world champion, not necessarily dethrone Roman Reigns. That's not the point. But people want to see the talent they love succeed. And I sincerely believe that this is the crux of it. That's the thing. That is people tune into WWE because they have really likable talent, or talent that people really like, whichever way you want to spin it. And I think both ways work. And they want to see them succeed despite the WWE machine that always seems to be conspiring against the talent that people like. If that makes sense. That's kind of where I'm at. And I think that when these releases happen, then seeing some names pop up there, I think that people get really, really heated in their reactions for two reasons. I think one of them is because, you know, in a lot of cases you're like, how can they be dropping the ball on such a sure thing, first and foremost? And the second of is, I really like this person. I really wanted them to see them succeed in the biggest promotion of them all. You know, just in the big leagues, even though there's another company in the big leagues, but you know, where big salary, the biggest, you know, the company that has decades of existence, you want to see them succeed there. And I think it's that attachment to the talent that creates these moments where then the internet wrestling community just goes completely bonkers and loses their mind and gets mad at WWE when they do it. But and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that we need to get used to this and become oblivious to talent cuts. I think I think it's important to continue to feel attached to the talent and the injustices, these types of injustices that happen in some circumstances. Not all releases are injustices, just and it's not that we should grow insensitive to them or oblivious to them, but this is going to happen more and more until WWE reaches the point where it's like, we're good now. But we're going to see more and more of these happen. We're going to see more and more independent talent disappear. More and more of the indie-grown talent be cast off. That's for sure. We're going to see more and more because we're going to see non-wrestlers be picked up to the PC so that WWE can mold them exactly into the superstars that they want, so that Vince can go back to this great feeling he used to have in the 80s and the 90s where he thumps his chest and says, I made you, Because a lot of these people coming in, like Keith Lee, for instance, like Adam Cole, like Kyle O'Reilly, like Blake Christensen, like all of these people, Frankie Monet, Taya, right? All of these people came in with baggage from other promotions, from the indie circuit, and with their own set of fans. So, Vince is basically sitting around going, I want to reinvent these people. It's not working because these people had an identity before Vince, and Vince sort of goes, well, this isn't working, and he kicks them to the curb. And then he goes around and he says, all this talent that you brought in from the indies, I don't want them, Paul. Tell them to hit the bricks. So it's all this attachment. We're attached to the talent. And you should be attached to the talent. You should be. Because they're the ones who go out there and do the stunts and perform and break their bodies so that you can sit there and them crossing your fingers that you're going to buy a ticket to one of the shows they're on, and double cross their fingers that you're going to buy one of their t-shirts. That's why they do it. It's not the company. Don't support the companies. Don't support WWE. Don't support AEW. Support the talent. It's the talent you want to see succeed because it's the talent that makes you tune in. There. Got some super chats. Let's take a look at all of these here. Got a couple from, well, first of all, Chris Jacobs. Welcome to the chat. Nice to see you. DGMC, nice to see you as well. Welcome, sir. Anakin left us a couple of super chats. First and foremost, Anakin says in his first super chat that 2K22 roster will be wildly outdated. I'm willing to bet 10 Canadian rubber bucks that it's going to be delayed. What was it, in March or something like that? I'm sure someone can check out what the date is. I'm willing to put some rubber bucks on the line here. 10 of them. That it's going to be delayed. Or if it's not, well, some people will have a little extra payday because I'm sure this is the kind of residual that will roll over. So good for everyone who can still milk WWE while they're getting fired. That's the dream. Another super chat from Anakin here. He says, having just seen a Marvel movie, he can attest. WWE does not equal Marvel. Oh, I know. Look, anyone of these class, brilliant people watching and listening to the MrWarrenHayes show right now know that they're on two different planes of existence. We know that. Yes, thank you. Okay, so confirmed. Yes, in March. I'm ready to bet. Ready to bet that it's going to be later than March. Shout out to Modesta Myron for becoming a subscriber of the MrWarrenHayes Show channel. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Welcome. And Anakin left another super chat. Thank you very much, Anakin. You're super kind with all the super chats tonight. I appreciate it. He says, if it was really about budget cuts, they'd have cut top stars making 6 or 7 figures. I agree. I mean, they've done it, right? With Braun, you know? It's not as if they haven't done it. It's, you know, regardless, even with their salary mass, and I was listening to Brandon Thurston, and by the way, it's time for me to put Brandon Thurston and WrestleNomics over once again. I swear, Brandon, it's the easiest sponsorship you've ever had in the history of your life. I keep talking about you every week, and it doesn't cost you a dime, and that's fine because you do fantastic work. You deserve it. All I'm saying, this is the greatest sponsorship deal you didn't even know you had. Brandon Thurston, WrestleNomics, at Brandon Thurston, at WrestleNomics. I was listening to him talk about, you know, today's Q3 call, and the salary mass for talent for the company, it's not even, it doesn't even, these cuts that they're doing don't even factor into any savings they're making, not substantially. All the cuts that they made, you know, in operations and so on and so forth, that's all been taken care of. We know it's not budget cuts. We are literally at a moment where the stockpiling has reached critical mass, and they just can't keep everyone anymore. It's just as simple as that. And Nick Khan is going around scratching people off. By the way, do you guys think that when they spell Nick Khan, his last name, do you think some people forget the H, or do they put? We're not talking about that tonight, by the way. Those who know. If you don't know, God bless you. You're in a great spot. All right, let's talk. So, bunch of talent was released. I think this is more or less in order that it's been, that we've learned. I don't know. Look, I'm just gonna roll through them, give a few thoughts, and chat. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you want me to read out your thoughts on a particular talent, drop a super chat. It'll be my pleasure. Scarlett Bordeaux. Let's start off with Scarlett, and might as well throw in there Karrion Kross as well, because they came in as a unit and they're being exited as a unit. And I think it makes more sense to talk about them as a pair as opposed to, you know, both of them separate. And again, you know, look, I know we're all bummed. I just want to underscore this. We're bummed. This kind of situation sucks. We hate it when people lose their jobs. But you know, we're going to try and keep the best positive outlook here. And I don't want to go back and talk about how Karrion Kross may or may not have been a great NXT champion, or may or may not have been misused. No, actually, no, we are going to talk about that. We are absolutely going to talk about Karrion Kross not even getting a fucking fair chance to get over on that fucking roster. If anything, look, if he is one of these casualties of this alleged Triple H, Nick Khan, Vince, Bruce power struggle, you know, that people are imagining is a thing that may or may not be real. And I'm not saying it is. I'm definitely not. But if he's a result of them, another symbol of him being kicked to the curb because he was a Triple H project, well, I'll tell you one thing. Triple H knew how to get that guy over. H got it. Because it was the presentation that made this guy work. And in a company which is all about presentation, which is all about how you present yourself, how you translate yourself onto the screen, what your character is, can you be marketable, can we make toys with you, whatever. in a company that is 82% presentation for all of their wrestlers. It is wild to me that they went from Karrion Kross, NXT, with the smoke and the lasers and the black and white and the strobes and Scarlett, and bring him up on main. First of all, just like, I'm just a guy. And then putting on the absolute fucking worst costume that we have seen in World Wrestling Entertainment for years. And then we turn around and we say, the guy can't get himself over. Of course the guy can't get himself over. They're not giving him a chance to get over. My God. And the fact that they weren't able, that they didn't take the NXT presentation and just, it was main roster made. I'm convinced there was Triple H was on the phone with Vince saying, why aren't you doing this, Vince? I made this guy for you. This guy's for you. Why do you need to reinvent him, Vince? Why do you need to start from scratch? Don't make him a gladiator. No one gives a shit. Have him come out with his hot wife. Let her do her Evanescence thing. Just have him come out in the darkness, the fog machines. That's what got him over. Would it have worked on main? More than what they did with him when he did end up on main. And I feel bad for him. I really do. Because he never got a fair chance. They just threw him in there with this absolutely terrible presentation from just a guy. He's just a guy. His presentation, you saw it before they put the gladiator bullshit on him. He just come out and walk down to the ring and his name in the back on the Titantron. That's it. How do you get over with that in contemporary, modern day 2021 WWE? He comes out, he looks like a jabroni. I feel bad for him. And look, I know about, there's all sorts of, stuff going around about his political beliefs, whatnot. Sure, that's one thing. But everything I've heard about Karrion Kross is that he is a legitimately nice guy. And all he wanted was, he just wants to work. He wants to be, treated, like anyone else, but that he's a legitimately nice guy. I even heard one person tell me he's too nice for the wrestling business. Ridiculous. And I feel bad for him. Because I think he was put in very ingrateful situations. Even in NXT, where he was immediately placed as a championship contender, just heat the guy up, god damn it. This is look, they released Taya Valkerie, right? And this is one of these talents. And we're going to throw Ember Moon in here too. And we're going to throw Keith Lee in this as well. These are all wrestlers where you're like, how do you fuck this up? How do you fire these people from your roster? I don't get it. I have absolutely no idea how you hire Taya Valkerie, a vet, a true to form veteran of the wrestling business, who has wrestled everywhere, who has the look, the presentation, the charisma, all the naturals that make her one of these key women that you look at her and you're like, she's going to make it in WWE. She's there. You have her. And you fuck her up. You don't know what to do with her to the point where you're like, let's just send her packing. I do not understand it. I have no idea. And look, here's the thing. Then, I know a lot of people got really, really upset when they had her change her name to Frankie Monet. But look, now she's back on the indies, free again. She can use Taya Valkerie without having to jump through any hoops, doesn't give a shit. She can go wherever she wants and use her name however she wants to use it. It is such a crying shame that we had a woman in WWE of the caliber, the world-class caliber talent, all-rounder, from in-ring to promos, who's got it all. And WWE goes, wow, we got nothing for you, sister. No, we got nothing, sorry. We're going to have to let you go. Budget cuts. That's outstanding. Ember Moon's another person who didn't quite get a fair shake when she got up on main, despite the fact that, she got herself over. Remember how over she was when they brought her up and she had her first few matches? People were into her. Why? Because she was fun to look at. She's a fun wrestler. She's talented. Can do a lot of stuff that the other women can do. Made her look different. She could stand out. We got to cool her off. Now I understand she got injured. But she comes back and then what? She's a geek. You remember that short period where you'd see her play with her Switch and she was like, she'd have her Switch and then, I want to play video games. You're like, of course, well, there you go. Let's just bury her, right? Because that's all it is. Poor Ember. And had a good thing with the Shotzi tag team. I thought that worked great. I guess, this, you can be the biggest, brightest Booker T Academy graduate trainee that you want. But I guess Booker's right when he says, you don't come into this business to make friends, right? Not even him. Not even he could keep her there. I really hate what they did with Ember. The thing is, here's the thing. The thing here is that guys, people like Taya and Ember are going to be fine. They're going to be fine. Because they can literally go anywhere. They can go anywhere. And they'll be fine. Impact, AAA, slum on the indies. And that's not fair. I shouldn't say that. Because one of the most enlightening things that truly has happened to me over the past 18 months or so, when the editor-in-chief of Bell to Bells, Kristen Ashley, pushed me into interviewing people. She didn't push me, but she did highly insist that I break out of my comfort zone and try to interview people. And one of the best things that came out of all of this is talking to wrestlers on the record, off the record. It really does help you develop a sense of what they go through and what they feel. And I think one thing that I hear not a lot out of, but that I have heard from certain key people is that there is a feeling, a definite feeling on the independent circuit that the indies are healthy enough and strong enough to say, you know what, I can make it. I can make a living. Maybe not millionaire money, house in Beverly Hills, guest starring on Dancing with the Stars money, but I can make a living working the independents, the dates that I want, the shows that I want, be completely free and pay my rent, get some food, feed my family. It's possible. Hard, but not impossible. So it's not fair for me to say slumming it on the indies, because it's not the case for everyone. There are people who see themselves as lifers on the independent circuit and are proud of that, happy about that, that feel that they don't need the big contract to justify their success in wrestling. And you have to appreciate that. You really do. But my point, coming back to Ember and Taya, they can wrestle anywhere. They really can, and they'll be fine. And there'll be attractions wherever they go, because Ember was on this huge stage, right? I'm gonna check here real quick, if you don't mind. Also wonder what her name is gonna be moving forward here. She's been with WWE since 2015. Holy smokes, right? And she was on the indies. She'll be it'll be good. They'll be fine. It sucks that they lose the big job, right? But it's still cool that the opportunities are there for them to continue thriving. They'll be fine. John Bear Gaming, hello and welcome to the chat. Now, I mentioned in the same breath as Taya Valkerie and Ember Moon, Keith Lee, who is absolutely, I think one half something that a lot of people saw coming, but on the other half, a lot of people are still shocked. I think it's one of those where you're really on the fence of, because you look at everything that they've done with him, you know, helping him out with his heart issues and, you know, just taking good care of him coming back like, yeah, let's do this. They do the repackaging with the Bearcat thing. They're like, no, hit the bricks, pal. It's surprising on that end. But this is something I absolutely need to drive home, and I've seen people already in the chat mention it, but we've got to underscore this. We've got to make sure that you fully understand this one. It takes a high level of doofus to have Keith Lee on your roster and not know what the hell to do with him. It takes a particular level of clown to have signed Keith Lee and then turn around and be like, hey, we're good, pal. Future endeavors and all that. That is bananas. Bananas. And you know what? We all kind of saw it coming, right? When Keith Lee came up on main and Vince had him cover up, start using the singlet. Y'all remember that shit, right? Took away whatever visuals that made Keith Lee. Another guy who is extremely athletic, huge guy, but can do wacky shit. A guy who is naturally charismatic. Another well-rounded guy. And they're like, we don't know what to do with you. And this is a guy that they put in positions with Roman Reigns. They gave him moments with Brock Lesnar. And you are going to tell me that you didn't know what to do with him? They knew exactly what they had with Keith Lee. But they didn't know how to turn. How do you drop the ball on Keith Lee? How is your promotion not thriving on the back of Keith Lee? I don't. That one blows my mind. And it's the same kind of thoughts I have in regards to Ricochet. Ricochet is still employed. I don't know how. I don't know why they still keep him around. They don't know what to do with him. But you have guys like Keith Lee, like Ricochet, and you don't know. You're grasping at straws. You don't know what to do with him outside of let him go wrestle. But then they repackage him in the Bearcat thing. He comes out and he's all like, rawr, and he growls and he just shoves people around, and they take away everything. Everything that makes Keith Lee, Keith Lee. I don't want to be one of those, but here we go. Keith Lee should show up on AEW. That's where he belongs. AEW is basically the new PWG at this point. That's what they have to do. Pluck him up, bring him in. That's what you do with the guy. Because he is an all-star. He is a franchise. He's a guy you can build off of. He's a guy that will make your audience pop. I know we gotta be careful. We don't want to run out of pops. But how can you run out of pops if you've got people like Keith Lee available on the circuit and no one knows what to do with them? It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Conrad from Everything Pro Wrestling. Good to see you, friend. Welcome. And I don't want to, honestly, I don't want to be the guy who goes, AEW should sign, because I'm of the opinion that AEW is going down the bloat route right now. I think they're starting to have too many people. And I think anyone they should be hiring at this point, if they want to keep hiring, should be women. They should pick up a woman like Taya. They should pick up a woman like Ember Moon. They really should. Or Mia Yim. And Mia Yim. Poor Mia Yim. Mia Yim, a tragedy. A tragedy that this woman was just like our boy Karrion Kross, who will probably start calling Killer Kross again, which, by the way, I am completely fine with. Mia Yim, I remember this. Mae Young Classics tapings. She does her thing. She does her match. I can't remember which round. She gets eliminated. She's going back up the ramp. And the people in the building, this was not broadcast, right? The people are in the building are chanting, "Sign Mia Yim! Sign Mia Yim!" Triple H comes out, he grabs a microphone, and he says something to the effect of, "All right, I hear you guys." Next thing you know, Mia Yim is hired. Next thing you know, Mia Yim is on NXT. And everyone is excited. Why? Because Mia Yim is another vet. She's another legit tough lady. She's a great wrestler that wrestles a different style than what you usually see. You know, a little more physical, a little more grounded, a little more, I'll snap your goddamn neck kind of thing. Very Mercedes Martinez vibes. Heads up, gets called up to main roster in one of the absolute worst gimmicks of the past decade in WWE. We will remember Retribution for how shitty it is. It was. She does everything they ask her to do. She does that ridiculous possession conniptions. Do you remember when she started throwing conniptions? Was it on Raw one night? She was in the middle of the ring and no one knew what was going on, and they cut to commercial and people were like, is she okay? Is she having a stroke before our eyes? Is this real life kind of thing? And what's even sadder is over the past couple of weeks, Mia Yim on her account was like, 1 week, till I show back up. She's ready. She's in gear. She gets drafted. People are like, she's coming back. She's back. And she's getting excited. Never even got a chance. Never even got an opportunity. Doesn't that just blow your minds? It blows mine. I think it's nuts. Mia Yim should 100% be picked up into the AEW women's division because she is going to bring a style there that is not very present in that division. She's going to bring something fresh. She's going to be a brawler. It's a shame. Douglas Brown, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. And our boy Pluggo's here. Oni Lorcan, Biff Busick has been freed. He's back up. Look, if you've been a long-time listener of the Mr. Warren Hayes show, you know how much I love me. You know how much I love me some Oni Lorcan. No nonsense, just throw down, boom, 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 boom. I've always had a soft spot for Oni Lorcan. Biff Busick, now he'll be freed from a ridiculous gimmick name, Oni Lorcan. How was he supposed to get over with that name in the first place? Oni Lorcan, right? Get Oni out there. Oni hits the independents. Put Oni in Bloodsport. Let him go. This is a guy who's still in a position to reinvent his career. And if he goes down the tough guy route, the guy who's just ready to pick up and fight anyone, I promise this is a guy who can make it, who can reinvent himself and prove everyone wrong. Be like, holy shit. This guy's amazing, right? This guy is awesome. I swear, give Josh Barnett a call. Let's get Biff Busick in there versus anyone. Just put him in there against anyone. Just let him tear it up. Yeah, let's get Biff Busick to retire Super Dragon in PWG. Let's do that. Here's one that doesn't make any sense. That hurt. No, this is one that hurts your head. B-Fab, right? One of the integral parts of this Hit Row deal that they have going, right? What? She's part of the act. Like, she's literally one of the bigger parts of the flavor of this group. She's a shit wrestler. She still needs some cooking in the oven, right? But that wrestling skill has never kept WWE from giving anyone a job. Gets called up on main. From what I understand, just about a week, 10 days ago, re-signed the deal. And they fire her. I don't understand. I don't understand. Again, perfect in presentation and so on and so forth. Makes no sense. I don't know who makes these calls, who makes the final calls here. I do not get it. Grand Metalik, Lindsay Dorado, it was a question of time. They had asked for their releases. I am glad that these releases have been attributed to them. They're gone, and they'll both be better off for it. And maybe Metalik can go back to proving to everyone just how great of a luchador he is, because he is absolutely fantastic. I hope you all managed to not blink for the time that Harry Smith was back hired into WWE, because if you did, well, you missed it. We got our boy Trey Baxter, right? Trey Baxter, the gentleman formerly known as Blake Christian. I don't know if, look, I'm going to be entirely selfish on this one. Entirely 100% selfish, despite the fact that I never feel good about someone losing a job. But, if I'm going to distance myself for a second and just talk purely as a fan of Blake Christian, I'm glad he's gone. I'm glad he's gone. I think it really was a question of time with the direction that NXT decided to take. They're getting rid of all the smaller guys. You see what they were doing. A guy like Blake Christian, he didn't stand a ghost of a chance to stay on that roster. It was just a question of time. But I'm going to tell you, I am happy he's gone, because that means we get Blake Christian back. Blake Christian back on the indies, fucking tearing it up on Impact, on New Japan, just like he was doing before he decided to sign with WWE. Don't blame the guy. I won't blame anyone for going for the bag. Absolutely not. And he had a great match. Remember that match that he had with Kushida a couple of months ago? Then I watched it and I was excited and it was good. And I was like, man, this match could have used 2-3 minutes more. It's like, it felt like second gear was kicking in and could have used just a little more. Well, that's the kind of shit that I knew Blake Christian for. That's what he's going to be back out there doing. This was a guy who was tearing it up before he got signed. All I can say is inexperience brought him down that path. Like he's like, what, 4 years in the business? It's inexperience that brought him down that path. Where he was like, I can get to WWE. I can do this. This guy can go anywhere. And look, have him show up on Dark. Have Oni Lorcan show up on Dark and do some matches there. Have him and Bobby Fish really go at it. You know what? Low key, Daniel Bryan, Biff Busick. Did I call him Daniel Bryan? Bryan Danielson, Biff Busick, low key has all the stuff to be really fucking amazing. Katrina Cortez, Jeet Rama, Jessica Mea, Zeta Ramier, also known as AQA, all gone as well. We barely knew ye. Katrina Cortez had a little stint, a very, very short couple of times on Maine last year. Was it last year? Where she was hanging around, I think it was she was hanging around Kalisto? Was that the gimmick? I think so. Nia Jax is gone. I am willing to lay down another 10 Canadian rubber bucks. If anyone wants to take this bet that she is done with wrestling. I mean, she was done with it before she ever actually stopped wrestling. She was done with it regardless. Again, I'm not going to... Sin Cara, yes, thank you, Injection 2K. Thank you. It was Sin Cara. I'm not here to dance on the grave of, not the grave, but on the fact that anyone loses their job, that stinks. But Nia has not been good for a while. She has not improved. She has never look, we all know the track record. How much of a liability she can be at the same time. She's done. Anyone, if she does work indie dates, big fucking if, because she's going to try and use all of her reality show contacts to try and get gigs in Hollywood. If she ever works an indie date, it's going to be as an attraction, right? I mean, let's say she wanted to rehabilitate her image and do kind of like a Matt Cardona kind of thing where she hits the indies and then she puts herself into these situations that she's never put herself in WWE, and then people sort of start popping for her. That's cool and all, but she can't wrestle. As opposed to Matt Cardona, who can actually, perform wrestling moves without outright hurting other people. Nia's terrible. Nia's been terrible for a while. I felt like she had the dubious distinction of being the absolute worst wrestler on a national televised wrestling promotion. I still think she, right up until Eva Marie came back. But I'm not going to lament the loss of Nia Jax from television wrestling. Absolutely not. But I honestly think that she's done with it. I don't think her heart was in it anymore. I don't think she was giving it any effort. Maybe the social media stuff was getting to her at the same time, and that sucks. But objectively speaking, Nia Jax is not a good pro wrestler. And she should have been cut way before that. Very least she should have been tossed back to NXT. And Eva Marie can hit the bricks and stay away. Don't come back. All right? Like, just so long. And I don't know what even that was. I don't know what they even tried to do. Was it to get Doudrop over? Was it to get Piper Niven over? Because it didn't work. Piper Niven's not over because Eva Marie sucks. Eva Marie sucks. She's awful. Awful at everything. She's terrible at everything she does. And it's not even part of the gag of her being bad at pro wrestling and avoiding to wrestle and all that shit. She can't even cut a promo without sounding like a robot. She can't even fall down in a pre-planned, staged trip fall without making it look like shit. She has no charisma. She's literally like a Mark Zuckerberg, where it's like, okay, Eva, this is the point where you have to smile at the people so that they can relate to you. She's an android. She's horrible. She's terrible. And we knew this. She's got nothing. No presence. No charisma. She looks the part. Like, she looks like she should be charismatic. You know what I mean? Like, you look at her and you're like, I should be drawn to this woman, but I'm not. Because she has the personality of a mic stand. Queen of NE, how you doing? Don't forget, this Saturday, she and I, full gear predictions. There will be no Eva Marie talk during the full gear predictions this weekend. I can tell you that. Anyway, so I think that's the updated list. I don't think I forgot anyone. Good riddance to Eva Marie, though. What a waste. I don't know, like, I don't even know what the plan was. Like I said, was it to get Piper Niven over? She didn't get... That's how bad Eva Marie is. She can't even get another wrestler over. That's how bad she is. Apologies to Boom Arms. And Mike Stands. You're right, John. I'm sorry. I went too far. The sip of water I'm about to take is more entertaining than... How's everyone doing? Like the video if you don't mind. If you haven't already. If you haven't already, cheers to you. But if you haven't... What else is there to talk about? There's gotta be something else to talk about. Should we talk about the TBS women's tournament? Let's talk about the standings. You guys know I like tournament wrestling. Tournament wrestling rules. It really does. I think it's a lot of fun. And I haven't had enough time to talk about the TBS Women's Championship Tournament. Excuse me. Cameron Ramsey, good to see you. Welcome to the chat. So I'm like, okay, let's do it tonight. I think it'll be a good change of pace. Darkman 060. Look at a whole bunch of people popping in. God, look at this. The chat is popping. I think that's what the kids say, right? That's what the cool Twitch streamers say, right? The chat is popping. Smash that like button. Crush that subscribe button. Hit the bell. I'm making myself cringe if it's any consolation. So, the tournament is on its way. Good stuff, pal. I'm excited about it, and we've already had we're going through. We've had 3 of our first 4 overmatch, and I don't think I've properly talked about it, right? I don't think I've properly talked about the TBS tournament as it stands right now. But you know, one of the things that I like most about it, and I'm not going to compare it to another tournament that we recently saw on another nationwide wrestling promotion. What I like about this tournament, and as opposed to anything that AEW has done with their women's division and their women's promotions to this point, is that they're taking their time in building this one. They're stretching it out. We're going to be crowning someone in the new year. And you know what's awesome about that? It gives us time to appreciate the tournament. It gives them time to build little mini feuds. It gives them time to create storylines and actions, consequences between women of the mid-card and the undercard of the women's division. Not always centered around the main title. No. Now we're developing stories, situations that we can go back to in the future, that we can retrace the history. You guys know, to me, that I like me some sports-centric storytelling, and this is how you do it. By creating history between the women, then you come back to those matches later down the line and they're like, that's awesome. That's what they do with the guys. Why wouldn't you do it with the women? Hey, good guy Dave. Yeah, smash that like button. And like our boy AK Germany pointed out in the chat, it gives them time, since they're taking their time and they're not rushing this tournament. It's not a subset production on YouTube. It's on the main shows. So, say it with me. It's on the main shows, so it feels important. If it feels important, people are going to treat it as important. And if they treat it as important, they're going to get excited about it. They're going to want to watch it. I would like to shout out Tony Khan to have started listening to the MrWarrenHayes show clearly. I'm taking all the credit for how this tournament's been booked, because I've enjoyed the shit out of this so far. So what's happened at this point? Here's the standings. In our first opening matches, we had Penelope Ford lose to Ruby Soho. We've had Hikaru Shida win against Serena Deeb. And you see how great, do you see how fucking awesome the Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida stuff has been? I talked about it last week on the podcast because it was such a fucking great match. And I'm still talking about it this week because it's a fucking great match. And it's a great pairing on top of that. A legitimate big time heel in Serena Deeb, which is something that this division lacks in. Yes, they got Penelope. Yes, they got the Bunny, but a more complete kick-ass murderous heel. Like someone who you look at her wrestle and you're like, this woman can kill me if she wants to. And she probably will because she has a bad attitude. And I like it. That's what Serena Deeb is. Britt, fantastic heel, but she gets the babyface reactions. And that is going to be an impediment for them moving forward because they're going to need huge baby faces to try and counteract Britt's babyface reactions. This is the inherent problem with Britt Baker right now. And it's not a bad thing to have, but it's not a good thing either. Because now they're throwing Tay Conti at her, by the way, who I interviewed. Shout out, youtube.com/bell2bells. Go check that out. They're throwing Ty at her, and Ty she's a sweet, wonderful baby face, but I am not sure. I am going to be very, very curious to see what kind of reaction she gets versus Britt at Full Gear. Whereas Serena Deeb, there is no question what kind of reaction she's going to get. Anywhere she goes, people are going to boo her because she's awful. She's an awful person. She's a great fucking wrestler, but she's an awful person. In kayfabe, of course. Look, a few weeks ago, she beats Shida. And not only does she beat Shida, but she cracks the trophy across her head and breaks the trophy. She loses this week, pulls out a chair, beats the shit out of Shida. And this feud continues. And I'm popping. I'm like, yes. Let's go. Let's fucking go. This is great. It's great because you get good wrestling. The story makes sense. Deeb's not done with her. I fucking love it. Let's go for the rubber match. I love it. That's a story that's carrying that added some personal stakes to a match that already had stakes in the tournament, and now we're continuing. We're going down the road with it. God damn, it's good stuff. So Shida won her match. Shida advances, and Anna Jay lost to Jamie Hayter. No big surprise there, if you ask me. I think Jamie Hayter. We have one more opening match left, which is going to happen on Rampage this week, which is going to be the Bunny versus Red Velvet. And I think Red Velvet is going to be moving forward because now we're going to be moving into the, what is it? The quarterfinals? Yeah. Quarterfinals, semifinals, finals. That's it. We're moving into the quarterfinals with the women who got the buys, right? Thunder Rosa, Jade Cargill, Nyla Rose, and Chris Statlander. Hey, look at this. It's most likely Dan Reed of Pro Wrestling Eve in the chat. Nice to see you. Got a big event this Saturday. Subscribe to their YouTube channel. Become a member. Watch it. Enjoy. So this is what we're getting so far. So Jamie Hayter advances. She's getting to face Thunder Rosa in which has all the potential to be probably the best match of the tournament. And I'm sticking my neck out there. This will probably be the match of the tournament. If not, I'll be excited to see what's going to top it. Let's put it that way. So I'm excited for that. Chris Statlander is going to be taking on Ruby Soho. Should be a lot of fun as well. Should be really good. Two very, very strong women. I didn't give my predictions here. I think Thunder Rosa is going to be moving forward in the tournament. I think she's going to defeat Jamie Hayter, and I'll tell you why in a second. As far as Statlander versus Soho goes, I think Ruby Soho is going to go forward here. You feel that AEW is behind her, giving her a lot of airtime, really pushing her forward. Excited to see Ruby Soho, in my opinion, move forward here but this is going to be a good match. And Nyla Rose versus Shida here. Look, here's what I'm thinking. If Ruby Soho moves forward, you've got two options here. You've got the match, or you've got the babyface versus heel thing, right? The match, I think, is Ruby Soho versus Shida, which would be awesome. I think it really would be awesome. But coming back to what I was talking about with, the problem with Britt Baker, right? Being a heel who gets really strong babyface reactions. I think you want to continue pushing a really strong natural babyface as a really easy connection with the audience, like Ruby Soho, plus she can go, right? I kind of feel Ruby Soho, Nyla Rose makes sense. But again, like I said, I think Shida moving forward, and Ruby Soho makes a lot of sense too. Depends on how you want to book this. And I don't think there's a distinct pattern here when it comes to AEW's booking, because they could easily book this to just give us the match, Soho versus Shida, which is something a lot of people would want to see, as opposed to, well, if a babyface is going forward, then it has to be a heel here kind of thing. As for our girl Jade Cargill, I think she is going to be facing Red Velvet as opposed to the Bunny. And the reason why I think they're going with Red Velvet is because Jade, God bless her, I feel like I always have to preface this because I feel like people are just waiting to get mad at me and say, you hate Jade Cargill. I don't hate Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill is green. She's super green. And that's just how it goes. She's got the attributes. I think she's got the affinities to be a good pro wrestler, but I think she's super, super green as it stands right now. If we go back and look at the things that she's done with Red Velvet, she's had 2 matches with Red Velvet. Red Velvet brings out the best in her. Red Velvet knows how to bump for her, knows how to make her look good, and that's what AEW wants. They want Jade Cargill to look like a beast, so they need women who are able to do that. Red Velvet, I've said it once, I will say it again. Red Velvet is super valuable to the AEW roster because whatever position she is put in, no matter how high pressure it is, she delivers. She does exactly what she needs to do. She's reliable. And I think she goes forward to meet Jade in the quarterfinals because I don't think the Bunny is the woman who will be able to just get that little something special out of Jade. It's just me. Jason PS3 and Pierre Paquette, welcome both of you to the chat. So, now that we're done here, we got our quarterfinals. So if we get Jade versus Red, I think Jade goes ahead. I don't think there's a scenario here that doesn't conclude with Jade Cargill in the finals. I don't. So Jade defeats Red. I think Thunder Rosa defeats Jamie Hayter. So that, again, you get Jade Cargill against a super talented wrestler who can, work with her strengths, sort of cover up the flaws, make her look like $1,000,000, and then on top of that, have Jade win the match on top, defeating perennial fan favorite, hard worker, just all around fantastic wrestler, Thunder Rosa. Have Jade get the win here, have her move to the finals. And whether or not Ruby Soho fights Hikaru Shida or Nyla Rose, I think you get Ruby Soho to move forward. And at the very end of the tournament, Ruby Soho versus Jade Cargill. And that's where I don't know where to pick. That's where I don't know what to pick. Not gonna lie. But I am convinced that this is how this is going to be. I am convinced that this is where we're going to head forward to. This is the finals that we're going to that are going to happen here. Ruby Soho, Jade Cargill. It's hard to pick. I can't. I can go either way because either way kind of makes sense. But AEW pushing hard. Look, pushing hard on Jade Cargill. She is not pushing hard on Jade Cargill. She's not ready for the big world title main event spot, but you do want her to shine. You do want her to be a final boss type. You put the title on her, right? Wouldn't you? Because isn't that kind of how they're building her? But AEW also has and I don't want to say tendency in a bad way. Not pejoratively speaking. AEW has usually puts on, is not afraid to put their titles, give the big wins to baby faces, right? I think it would be entirely plausible that Ruby Soho finishes the tournament at the same time with the gold around her waist. I think that's entirely possible too, but kind of feels like they're about ready to pull the trigger on old Jade here. We'll see. But I'm excited. I think over the next couple of weeks, I really think Thunder Rosa, I swear, Thunder Rosa, Jamie Hayter has the potential to be the match of the tournament. It really does. As much as I loved Serena Deeb and Shida a couple of weeks ago, last week, Hayter versus Rosa has the potential to really be something fucking special, and I'm excited for it. I'm excited. I'm digging the tournament. I'm enjoying this so much, and I'm glad they're doing something for the women's division that feels special, that's getting people invested in it. People are talking about it. People are excited. I'm cool with it. Like I said, taking their time. Finals in January. Fantastic stuff. Love it. Want to say hello to King Rail. Join us in the chat. I spent, I think, the first 55 minutes talking about the releases, the WWE releases. I've pretty much said everything I needed to say. Since we're on the subject of AEW, last Friday, Rampage, Bryan Danielson, Eddie Kingston. I don't know what else you want out of a good old fashioned wrestling match. Just people beating the shit out of you. Like, I love this stuff. This is the kind of wrestling that speaks to me. It's the kind of wrestling that that just makes me really, really happy to be a pro wrestling fan. I love that kind of stuff. I love guys who leave it all out there, that make me believe, that work hard and passionately. Fantastic stuff. What a great match. Then you get Matt Sydal and Dante Martin. And then, right? The main event, Abaddon versus Britt Baker, is a delight. It's a treat. What a surprisingly fun match it was. Maybe because I had set my bar so low. I was like, this is going to be shit. But Bryan Danielson, Eddie Kingston, look, do you guys realize at this point how light years away we are from perennial underdog, yes, leader of the yes movement, Daniel Bryan? Do you realize how far away, far removed we are from that now? I see people still doing the yes chants in the audience, and I'm like, get with the program. This guy's dead. Whoever you're chanting for doesn't exist anymore. Joe Cook, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. He's not around. Who are you chanting for? The guy's dead. And I look at this, and I look at Bryan Danielson and Eddie Kingston. I look at these guys beating the utter shit out of each other. And then I realize after this week, we're getting Bryan Danielson versus Miro. Two former WWE guys who in WWE be like, But two guys who have completely changed their approach to how they wrestle. Daniel Bryan, who just wants to get into a ring and beat people up. He wasn't kidding when he was talking about wanting to snap people's necks and, lean into violence. He wasn't kidding. He's living up to everything he said. And I look at that. I look at Eddie Kingston. I look at how they're booking Miro these days. Miro, what a rehabilitation Miro has undergone since leaving WWE. Coming into AEW as the gamer guy in his Gucci pajamas, all the way to this psychopath, this completely absurd, vile monster. And I look at this, I look at every match Bryan Danielson has had in AEW so far, and I'm like, this is going to be a match that is going to hurt people. It's going to hurt to watch, and it's going in the good way, right? Because they're going to be kicking the shit out of each other so hard. It's going to rule. And Danielson, here, look, Danielson, on top of that, what's his finisher? It's a detail. But I love this. What's his finisher? He's finished guys in just about every way. Never the same way. And I love that. Daniel Bryan can kill you whichever way he pleases. Doesn't always have to be a goddamn finisher. And that's refreshing. And I'm sure all of you are thinking like, oh, WWE, right? And New Japan too. And I think New Japan is even more egregious than WWE in that regard. Because New Japan, not only the finishers, but the secondary finishers, like the sub-finishers, where people hit them, commentary goes nuts, but they never put anyone away. Like, when's the last time Tetsuya Naito ended a match with Gloria? That sounded weird, but you know what I mean? When's the Okada, right? Kazuchika Okada, a landslide. Landslide doesn't put anyone away. It doesn't. Made in Japan. Never puts anyone away. Shingo wins with Last of the Dragon. He doesn't win with Made in Japan. It's a cool move. But I know he's not ending the match with it. He never ends a match with it. New Japan, they finish the matches with finishers. I love that shit. And he pulls it all out. The label lock, the cattle mutilation. What Eddie Kingston, right? He just fucking kneed him to the head like multiple times. Don't get me wrong. I like a good finisher where you go, oh, we're done, you know. Who doesn't pop to a Hangman Page shotgun lariat, right? You go, wow, that's fucking great. But I like me some snappy finishers and stuff like that, you know? It's fun. I also like it when, you know, matches end just because the other guy is beating the other guy up so bad that he can't do anything anymore. I like that. Fucking one-winged angel. Yeah, get him up on my shoulders. All right. And then I gotta reach over and grab the back of his head and bring it down and then do this. And Christ. Takes almost as long. A Styles Clash gets set up faster than the fucking one-winged angel. With much less effort. And Dynamite last night I thought was an off night. Didn't care much for it. Thank you, Apron Bump, who just joined us in the chat. Appreciate it. Thank you for being here. By the way, I joined the Apron Bump on a podcast appearance very recently. Subscribe to their YouTube right now. And it was a good time. I don't get to talk much about old wrestling anymore, but we sat around and watched ECW Enter the Sandman 1995, and it just reminded me of everything fantastic, everything great, and everything terrible about ECW. It's just one of those, and not a bad show, but it was a lot of fun to watch and even more fun to talk about. So go check that out. Yeah, I don't like Dynamite didn't do it for me last night. I thought there was so much talk. One of the things that I like so much about Dynamite is how everything just has everything's like boom, 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 boom all the time, right? It's like there's always stuff happening, and then maybe you'll have like one longer promo segment, but we'll move on quickly from that. The MJF Darby stuff was a little long in the tooth right up until they started fighting, like, and I thought the whole thing was kind of convoluted with the guys with the Sting with the MJF masks coming out, and like I liked when Darby charged MJF, of course, over the barricade. That was a cool spot. Yes, that was fun. But to get to that one fun thing, it really dragged. But you want to talk about dragged? The America Top Team Inner Circle junk. I thought it was bullshit. I didn't think it was entertaining. I didn't think it was fun. And I am on the side of the fence that enjoys Dan Lambert's promo work. I know there's a lot of people that instantly they're like, Dan Lambert, shit segment. Tell the old man to shut up. And I'm like, that's exactly what he wants you to say. He is the old man screaming at clouds. He is Jim Cornette. This is all he's all the detractors. He's everyone online who complains about AEW fans and AEW. That's who he is. That's who he's supposed to be. They're taking the piss with Dan Lambert. And in the meantime, Dan Lambert is having a great time doing it. And if you didn't think that was exactly the role that he's doing, old school complaining manager, when Jericho said, I'm picking you to be in the ring to face us at Full Gear, and he was going, no, I never said that. That is the most old school manager thing to do. Absolutely the most. Where you call the manager and say, the manager's coming into the ring. Like, no, I don't want to do it. I loved it. I sincerely loved it. That part. Again, too long. Too many people. And too many people who don't matter to AEW. I am still afraid that Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page are going to be lost in this shuffle. I still don't see how this is elevating them. Inner Circle, I think it was cool. Joe Pouline, did you think it was cool? Nice to see you, by the way. When they came back together and you're like, hey, they're still friends or whatever. But I'm like, I was much more excited at the prospect of Santana and Ortiz going on a tear in the tag team division. Right? I can't be alone here in that. I was very excited to see Sammy do a solo thing for a while. Now they're all mushed back together. I don't get it. And yes, I agree as well. I think that the Jericho slut-shaming comments last night on Paige Van Zandt, I think they were out of line. And I don't care if you come back and tell me, you're such a snowflake, you wouldn't have survived in the Attitude Era. Brother, I survived the Attitude Era. I was there, first and foremost. Second of all, that's the whole point, isn't it? I think the business has evolved. Just like anything, it's all changed. It's all evolved. I don't care that Jericho was calling Stephanie McMahon worse back then. I know he was. I was there. I was probably giggling around with it. Not 20 years later, 20 years wiser. Everything has changed. Our social norms have changed. Our values have changed. How we treat people. Of course, things are going to evolve and change. It's not a question of whether I would have been a snowflake back then or not. That's not the point. The point is now, contemporary, right now. Things have changed. Things have always changed. We don't treat people the same way we treated people in the 50s either. So much has changed. So even though it's been done in the past, I'd even say that's even a worse argument. You're not convincing me. You're not convincing me that this is better. You know? 2004, 2005 in the independent circuit, hell, I'm pretty sure on Ring of Honor tapes, you'll probably hear some of your, you'll probably hear some wrestlers that are still around today, dropping some slurs, some offensive language, which is absolutely frowned on today. And with good reason. That's just the thing. Things evolve. Things change. So doing the thing on Paige Van Zandt, it didn't pop me. Oh, it was kind of cringe, actually. Especially coming from, fucking almost 50-year-old Chris Jericho. Like, if I sat here, I'm about his age. That's the thing. I'm about his age. If I sat here and I started, dropping these kinds of disgusting, weird jokes, I think you'd all sit there and be like, "Ugh, cringe, old man," right? With reason. I don't think it's entertaining. And on top of that, here's and this is always the thing in these types of situations. There are people out there who did not like the promo, women specifically, and they voiced their opinions about it. This is something that I would request from the highly intelligent, above average, delights that are the viewers and watchers of the Mr. Warren Hayes show. If a woman is out there saying that, you know what, I did not like this slut-shaming segment that I saw last night. Don't go tell her why she should like it. Don't go tell her, oh, Jericho did it to Stephanie in the past. Just don't say anything and listen to what she's saying instead, and sort of like try to be a little empathetic. Be like, I can understand why she didn't like it. Me, it didn't bother me as much, but I guess that as a woman, if she's expressing this, maybe she has a point. You don't have to agree with her point, but you don't have to call her out and tell her why she's wrong, because she's not necessarily wrong to feel what she's feeling. Yeah, it's so weird. I don't know why people do that. I saw colleagues, friends, tweeting out they didn't like it, and a whole bunch of replies. I thought it was funny. So fucking what? She didn't think it was funny. Listen and absorb and learn. Learn from what other people are telling you, instead of trying to force, you should like it because this. No, wait. I should do an accent. You should like it because back in 1999, Chris Jericho was calling Stephanie McMahon a trash bag hoe. And that was funny. And all he said is, joke writes itself. It's not offensive. Get your head out of your area of buttocks, lady. Overall though, I thought Dynamite was a bit of a miss last night. A bit of a miss. That Island Angels and Kenny Omega, poor Kenny Omega, career is done again, right? His career just keeps ending, giving too much offense to these jabronis week after week. My God. What a dip. The opening match I thought was fine, but it wasn't quite as dynamic or electric, right, as openers can be. I thought the main event was fine with Miro and Orange Cassidy. I thought everything in the middle was just a little. I thought it was a little middling. I enjoyed the women's match. Jamie Hayter, Anna Jay. I thought it was good. The more people work with Jamie Hayter, the better. I even thought Andrade versus Cody was a little slow. I don't know. It didn't work for me. A lot of talk. It didn't feel like a usual Dynamite to me. But they'll be able to make up for it. Maybe just before we wrap up, we're talking a lot about people who lost their jobs today, right? In WWE. What about people who are getting new jobs, who have, or at least are in interesting contract situations, right? Speedball Mike Bailey, a Canadian treasure. A Canadian treasure has signed with Impact Wrestling. Scott D'Amore made an announcement at the Destiny World Wrestling Show in Ontario. He showed up and announced that Bailey had signed with the company. Fantastic stuff. Look, Mike Bailey, amazing wrestler. I'm glad his work visa situation has been settled and he can come back and wrestle in the US. We're all better off for it. most likely going to be added to the X division. And holy shit, are we in for a treat, an absolute treat. I'm super excited about this. And it had a pop in an interview, I think yesterday or the day before, I can't quite remember. But Mike Bailey, not Bailey, said that he had received an offer from WWE that he was considering. But it sort of fell through. They changed directions. I think probably what he means is that NXT changed directions, right? NXT sort of veered into the 2.0 area and it fell through. But you know what? Good for him. You dodged a bullet there, Mike. Canadian treasure, Speedball Mike Bailey. Watch. If you're not familiar with his work, you are about to. And besides, there's so much stuff of his online on YouTube and so on. He's just a fantastic wrestler, and I'm excited that he's going to be back. There's a lot of reports coming out that Kyle O'Reilly's WWE contract is expiring next month. In fact, PW Insider said that O'Reilly's contract is slated to expire in December. This would be the third WWE contract to come up soon, as purportedly Johnny Gargano's contract is coming up on December 3rd and Kevin Owens on January 31st. So I know a lot of people are like, Undisputed Era back in AEW. And frankly, Kyle would be a great fit. Kyle would be an absolutely great fit for AEW without a question, without a shadow of a doubt, right? Just without a shadow of a doubt. Is that what happens? Because just a little bit before we a little earlier in the evening when I was talking about, who goes to where, Kyle O'Reilly, AEW, is kind of suffering from a little bloat. Or at least we're getting there, right? I mean, it's hard to pass up a Kyle O'Reilly. It's hard to not see a Red Dragon back together. And honestly, I'm not necessarily excited. It's not even for the prospect of Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole fighting again. Because I feel like, have Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly really had good matches together, even before the NXT? Because I know they fought in the past, and I can't quite remember. Kyle's another guy who can go anywhere. So I won't even be worried. Juice Robinson's contract is coming up too. Fightful said that Robinson's New Japan contract is set to expire at the end of January 2022. Here's a guy who'll probably get some offers, right? He'll probably get a couple of offers. Pretty sure he's not going to go to WWE. But you kind of get the feeling that Juice feels maybe that he's floundering a little in New Japan. Pandemic hasn't made it easy, and now Tony Storm's in the States and so on and so forth. But, if there was something there, for him in the US, he'd probably take it. I would expect, I think he feels he hit his ceiling in New Japan, and he wouldn't be wrong. He's a smart guy. And Filthy Tom Lawler has announced that he's become a free agent as his MLW contract expired earlier this week. Both sides talked about a new deal, couldn't reach an agreement. And he put out just a tweet. It's pure as simple as that. As of today, I'm a free agent in the world of professional wrestling. Thank you to MLW, Court Bauer, MSL, and beIN Sports USA for the time and effort they put in with me. I'd like to thank the MLW staff, wrestlers past and present, and fans for the 4 years of memories. He is currently in New Japan. I'm expecting him to sign full-time with them. Because here's the one thing, and I forgot to mention this earlier on, because it's important to point out. There is a saturation right now on the independents. There was a saturation before all the releases today. This just compounds the situation. But there's one thing that you always have to keep, that I think that we have to keep in mind. And it's a harder place right now out there for wrestlers who were on TV, like in WWE, to get some work because Ring of Honor's gone or going. A place like Ring of Honor has always been essential in the ecosystem of, second tier or second level wrestling promotions. Impact, NWA, Ring of Honor, like they all serve a purpose, right? And I think it's now become just a little bit harder for them to get more consistent, stable work now that Ring of Honor is on the way out. There's already a saturation on the indies, but we always seem to discount New Japan. If New Japan has ever been serious about its North American expansion, if it's ever been really, really serious into getting the attention of North American wrestling fans with its own talent, how could you not pass up a guy like Keith Lee right now? Right? How could you just sit around and say, yeah, Keith Lee, we're good? I think there's something that could be done there. There's a lot of talent out there that they could be scooping up if, of course, they're interested in doing that, in creating this expansion for North America. And I think they're going to have to get serious about their local talent because, as we saw, the New Japan shows that they have booked over the fall haven't, far cry from selling out. So they've been bringing in the Japanese stars. They're bringing in Okada to North America to sell some tickets because that's who people want to see. New Japan fans want to see the New Japan stars. And as much as the New Japan strong guys are fantastic, like Tom Lawler, like Chris Dickinson, it's not the same type of, they're not draws like Okada and Tanahashi and Ibushi and Naito can be. The minute you start bringing those guys in, and people then, it's like, yes, this is a New Japan show. But if you want to create New Japan of America, you have to create your own stars, and you've got some ready-made stars here that WWE just dumped by the wayside. So it's kind of up to them to make this work out. It's also kind of on me to end the weekly wrestling inspection. Right? Right. Wait, why is the music playing again? No, stop. Stop, music. There we go. J.K. Schwal left us a super chat. Thank you very much. He said, casket dancing video for the burial of Kenneth Omega. I forgot about that. Should we do it? Because I think I actually... Guys, hang on a second. Oh, brother. I'm going to do it. Thank you very much for the super chat, and I'm going to do it because of it. And not because I'm capitalizing to peer pressure. Absolutely not. Right? You guys know, right? All right, I think I have it here. All right, let's pull just one last trip around the building, right? Why is it not popping up here? Let's try this then. Oh, I'm really doing this because you guys are amazing and because I love memes. What are you gonna do? And I think we're going to be okay if I do this. Are you ready? Here we go. Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega, his career is done again. All because of, you know, that guy. All right, I don't want to be demonetized. There we go. I've got enough of TBS Sahi coming after me. I don't need the casket people. Oh, Kenny Omega, rip your career again for giving so much offense up to Alan Angels. One day you'll learn. One day you'll make it, kid. You'll be fine. But in the meantime, though, I want to thank everyone for joining me this evening on another edition of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. Geez, lots of stuff again to talk about, but hey, there's always stuff to talk about in the world of pro wrestling, such as this weekend, Saturday, where I'll be doing my Full Gear prediction show alongside Queen of NE. You want to be there Saturday afternoon when that happens. It's going to be a good time. If you are a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel here on YouTube, and I don't know why you're not, stick around, because we're going to be actually go to the members only stream, because I'm going to be doing a stream for the members only. We're going to keep talking about wrestling if you want to believe that. Believe it, because that's what we're doing. Folks, have a great rest of your evening. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next time.